my esteemed guest, Professor Dr. Lucy Collins, dear friends, very warm welcome to the Indian Embassy. Since we are celebrating today the birth anniversary of a great poet, let me begin with his own lines. No, it is not for you, it is not yours to open buds into blossoms. Shake the bud, strike it, it is beyond your power to make it blossom. Your touch spoils it. You tear its petals to pieces and strew them in the dust, but no color appear, no perfume. It is not for you to open the bud into blossoms. He who can open the bud does it so simply. He gives it a glance, and a life sap stirs through its veins. At his breath, the flower spreads its wings and flutters in the wind. Colors flush out like heart longings. The perfume betrays a sweet secret. He who can open the bud does it so simply. Indeed, friends, it was just the touch of that divine hand that Tagore turned into an incredibly multifaceted genius, a great poet, storyteller, playwright, musician, actor, painter, educationist, thought leader, social and spiritual leader, and performing every single role with great finesse, so naturally, so effortlessly. Besides holding the distinction of the first Asian to win the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913, also the distinction of being author of the national anthems of two countries, India and Bangladesh, Tagore also stands out as one of the most influential and impactful, most quoted Indian thought leaders, second probably only to Mahatma Gandhi. The appeal of his poetry and his profoundly spiritual and mystical message through though local in setting, as you know, he wrote mostly in the background of rural Bengal, transcends the boundaries of geography and language. His native language, his own language was Bengali. It is not an international language. But Tagore was a world poet. Though Bengali, his language is not a world language. It is indeed, friends, a very special privilege for us to celebrate the birth anniversary of Tagore in Ireland, the land of great legend W.B. Yeats, who wrote the introduction to Gitanjali and actively worked to promote and popularize Tagore's poetic genius in the British and European literary circles, which eventually led to the Nobel Prize being awarded to Tagore in 1913. It is significant that Yeats himself won that award in 1923. So this friendship between Tagore and Yeats is, to me as India's ambassador, is the most glorious icon of friendship and cooperation and camaraderie and solidarity that has traditionally characterized the people-to-people ties between India and Ireland. And this is the spirit that I wish, and my colleagues in the embassy wish to re-energize and recreate as we are celebrating 75 years of India's independence, and our land is marked 100 years of its independence. Tagore was a unique example of East meets the West. He absorbed Western ideas and thoughts of modernity as well as Western romantic poetry and poetics on the one hand, And on the other hand, he imbibed the knowledge of Upanishads, Puranas, epics, classical Sanskrit masters like Kalidas, and also the Vaishnava Bhakti poets in Bengali and Maithili languages, as well as folk traditions like Baul and other folk music traditions of Bengal. He also refused to be confined in his outlook to the parochial, even the national boundaries. He always spoke of universal man, Vishwamanav, and the religion of man, Manav Dharma. He spoke against that cult, narrow cult of nationalism. And in fact, went on to say, to talk about illegitimacy of nationalism in India, as well as in the West. He said, Indian politics, our real problem is not political, it is social. The locus of Indian civilization must be sought in her villages. Villages in ancient India were not merely places where people lived, but also the center of basic values of Indian culture. It almost achieved total self-sufficiency in all basic needs: health, food, education, recreation, and creativity. The village in India could function independently without any help from the state. Tagore did not reject the concept of state authority, but he refused to recognize it as the determining agency of the life of the community. He said, we must win our Swaraj not from foreigners, but from our own inertia, our own indifference. As an educationist, Tagore was against mechanical rote learning, and he stressed on the habit of inculcating the spirit of inquisitiveness and inquiry and discretion and development of deeper holistic understanding. The highest education is that which does not merely give us information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence. Importance of right judgment, discursory power of the human being is paramount. We read the word wrong and say that it deceives us. About his poetry and songs and creativity, I can say that the creativity and songs represented for him a kind of offering of humble prayers, expression of devotion, sadhana, literally offering of garland of flowers. My songs are the same as the spring flowers. They come from you. Yet I bring these to you as my own. You smile and accept them, and you are glad at my joy of pride. If my song flowers are frail and they fade and drop in the dust, I shall never grieve. For absence is not loss in your hand, and the fugitive moments that blossom in the beauty are kept ever fresh in your breath. For him, the language of silence was often louder than the language of words. And silence spoke when words failed. How may I sing to thee and worship? O sun, asked the little flower. By simple silence of thy purity, replied the sun. Let not my thanks to thee rob my silence of its fuller homage. I know not how you sing, I ever listen in silent amazement. The personal relationship between the Supreme Being and Tagore was again a very unique feature of his poetry. I am able to love my God because He gives me the freedom to deny Him. I love, in love, I pay my endless debt to you for what you are. And nature is a very recurring central theme in his poetry. As the creation of his beloved, the Supreme Being, nature evokes a deep sense of empathy and kindred spirit. And his attention, although always focus on the tiniest of the creatures in the nature. The raindrops tossed on the earth and whispered, "We are thy homesick children, mother. Come back to thee from heaven." The infant flower opens its bud and cries, "Dear world, please do not fade." While the rose said to the sun, I shall ever remember thee," her petals fell to the dust. The raindrop whispered to the jasmine, "Keep me in your heart forever." Jasmine sighed, alas, and dropped to the ground. "I have lost my dewdrop," cries the flower in the morning sky that has lost all its stars. The morning star whispers to the dawn, "Tell me that you are only for me." "Yes," she answered, "and also only for that nameless flower." And he saw perfection in the entire creation of the divinity. The centuries follow each other, perfecting a small wild flower. And his advice, based on his understanding of the reality of the nature, is that one should never imitate others. The bird wished it were a cloud. The cloud wished it were a bird. The little flower lies in the dust. It sought the path of the butterfly. And self-pride and dignity in own individual identity. The dialogue between the dewdrop and the lake is really powerful and very inspiring to me. "You are the big drop of dew under the lotus leaf," says the dewdrop, "and I am the smaller one on it on the upper side," said the dewdrop to the lake. And his constant stress on simplicity. Simplicity is a great virtue and divine attribute. It is very simple to be happy, but it is very difficult to be simple. "Your speech is simple, my master, but not theirs who talk of you." When death comes and whispers to me, "Thy days are ended," let me say to him, "I have lived in love and not mere in time." He will ask, "Will thy songs remain?" I shall say, "I know not. Just this I know, that often when I sing, I found my eternity." Indeed, it is Tagore's poems, songs, and creative messages of deep empathy, kindness, compassion, healing touch, and love in its broadest sense that make him a truly universal icon of timeless, eternal, inspirational value. Only in love are unity and duality, not in conflict. As India is celebrating 75 years of independence, it is extremely important for us to remember Tagore's recurring words of caution against narrow, parochial and segmented approach to any and every aspect of societal and national life, education, entrepreneurship, governance, and finer creative endeavors. Fortunately for India, our Prime Minister Honorable Narendra Modi ji echoes his Tagore's wisdom and Modi ji's motto of Atmanirbhar Bharat and vocal for local and Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas reflect the essential message of Tagore's life and Tagore's poetry. And also the traditional philosophical ethos of India, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya. Friends, having mere noble thoughts is not enough. Purposeful, decisive action is essential for success to be achieved. You cannot cross the sea merely by standing and staring at the river water. Let me light my lamp, says the star, and never debate if it will help to remove the darkness. Friends, let us all do our bit for the society, for the country, for the world, without obsessing about what we will get in return. I think that will be the true tribute to the great legendary universal poet Rabindranath Tagore. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you, Professor.